So when you say, hey, you got to eat healthier, that kind of puts this block in front of people that I found. They're like, I don't even know what that means. Like, help me through that. It's not biology anymore. It's more chemistry now, I think. There's a lot of scientists making food, which is crazy.
Oh, with like Kellogg's and all these things, like cereal.
You know, there's a lab somewhere with white coats that are making things that are addictive. I'm sure you hear leaky gut. I mean, it's a common term, bloating, all these things. These are all things that came from glyphosate and all like the gardening practices we have. Is causing
how we farm these crops.
Yeah, glyphosate's in everything, and that's just destroying us. Just question what goes in your body. You know what I mean? I think people just need to question a little bit more, like, is this serving my body? You should respect your body. You should give it what it needs. You should listen to it. There's a lot of things that you can apply to a relationship, but people don't do it for themselves.
Our potential, it's exponential.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another podcast. And today I have Collin in the house. Collin, thank you for coming.
It's blessings. Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful to be here.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. So you're with Orqa Health. Do you want to tell people kind of about your mission, what you do?
Sure. That's a big question, but the small, bite-sized, digestible piece of that, no pun intended, is a bespoke food meal plan service. Me and my wife are co-founders of Orqa Health, and so we bring a lifestyle that's all holistic, and it's all about real food and really trying to navigate the food system that we have. And so I have taken it upon myself to make a bespoke meal plan to deliver to people twice a week. It's all, great food. We have the biology of cooking is what we call it. So we deploy that. And,
so through meal plans, you help people with this.
Absolutely, yeah. So a lot of people, it's hard. You hear it all the time. I don't have time, or I don't know what to do. And there's a lot of, stress around food. Food for me is very easy. And so I just thought everybody knew how to cook. That's not the case.
Why is that? Why?
I don't know. Probably a generational thing. I mean, there was a time that I'm sure grandma taught mom and mom taught kids. That doesn't happen anymore. So, and in a push-button society that we're in right now, it's very easy just to get Uber Eats and stuff. So there's no need for it. So when you say, hey, you got to eat healthier, that kind of puts this block in front of people that I found. They're like, I don't even know what that means. Like, help me through that. And the problem with that is chronic disease sets in. Let's say you go to a doctor and you have high blood pressure, or you have, you're hypoglycemic or something along those lines, right? Or you're diabetic, borderline diabetic.
Right.
A lot of people don't know what to do with that. So they go home and they go, oh my goodness, like, what do I do?
Right.
I only know this way of living. So
what do you do?
We're the piece that it really was inserted from practitioner saying you need X, Y, and Z, and you going home going, all right, how do I do that? How do I make that connection? So Orqa Health, plug us in, and that's what's
amazing. It's like I don't want to call it like a prescription, but it's almost like solutions, right?
Yeah.
Like, how would you describe it, right? It's like a holistic approach, you said.
Yeah, it's definitely a holistic approach. We can get into the biology of cooking, which is my philosophies around food, but
I really want to talk about that too.
It is
you
definitely
use our garden produce.
Yes, what you're doing is brilliant. You're one of the biggest parts of what you do, urban abundance. I mean, what you're doing needs to be done in America on a larger scale. So you're doing beautiful things, and then I'm helping people, take your beautifulness and get it into their kitchen.
I love.
You know what I mean?
By the way, we inspire each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it should be that way.
Yeah, you're the second Pete. Yeah.
It should be that way.
So, yeah, it totally should. So, I digress. What you were getting into kind of your meal plans and what you...
Yeah, and you had mentioned prescription, and it's funny because I think that's coming. I just found out not too long ago in New York that it is prescribed. You can prescribe, like if a doctor says you need to eat healthier, there's institutions or places where you could, the insurance, you can write it off, which is brilliant because there's people like Orqa Health, or there's companies like Orqa Health that can now say, okay, and this people can afford to get it, and it's like a prescription.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that comes here. And,
amazing. As it should be. Like,
food is medicine.
Right.
We've tainted with that a lot. We've gone. The pendulum has swung so far the other way that it needs to come back. And
totally.
Yeah, people like us and these podcasts is a big voice for that, for sure.
Yeah. So you're in West Palm, right?
Yeah, located in West Palm.
Cool.
Yeah, we service. We're going into Miami, so we service from Miami to right now Jupiter area.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Subscription service.
It's a subscription based.
Love it.
It's a subscription based with a little bit of personal touch. You can't just go on an e-commerce and click. You need to talk to Jacqueline, and you need to have a conversation. We're a little bit more intimate than most meal plans. You can't just jump on. We want to know who you are. And
I love that. So talk about that. Walk people through it. And Jacqueline's your wife, by the way.
Jacqueline's my wife. Yeah.
Amazing.
So she
helps you. You guys are partners in the business.
She's the biggest part of Orqa Health, really. She's energy, and we're all about energy. That's a big part of our philosophies is energy. We put a lot of energy into the food. We'll get to that in a minute. But she, so she gets on a call with you, and she makes sure that you understand who we are and what we believe in to make sure that that fits right. I mean, it's not only are we right for you, are you right for us, so that we don't waste each other's time, and we customize as much as possible.
You qualify each other,
there's a lot of people that, I went to my practitioner and I have FODMAPs, or I can't have this and I can't have that, and I'm bloated, and it's a long list. We started out servicing that long list, but it wasn't
people's needs.
And everyone's bio-individuality is different, so to scale was very hard. So we stripped it back and we said, okay, we'll take out dairy, we'll take out refined seed oils, we'll take out refined sugars, and we'll take out gluten. So those are the 4 big ones. So we'll take that right out. That's non-negotiable
across the board.
Nobody gets that in our meal plans
every week.
There's
no.
So nobody gets that. Now then we can dial that in a little bit further and say, okay, you don't like mushrooms, we can omit that. You don't like tomatoes, we can omit that. But if someone says I can't have nightshades, that chops a lot out of my it's not conducive to it.
You're business. So no gluten. Wow, no gluten, no refined seed oils.
Yeah, all those bad things, those inflammatory foods. We're very much on anti-inflammatory diet, and I guess our focus would be to get you, it's an 8-week journey, but you can jump in and out whenever you want. But each week is balanced to make you, in the long term, metabolically flexible. So if you're jumping on to lose weight, it will do that by reducing inflammation. Intuitively, that's going to happen. Your body knows what to do if you feed it right. So long term, what we've noticed is long term people's energy skyrocket. They intuitively lose weight, but it's not belly fat so much. It's all the puffiness, the inflammation that your body's fighting. And then when your body is not fighting inflammation and it can go to other places, you have more energy, you feel better. So all of these things just happens mechanically. You just start with one thing and then click, 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 everything starts working.
So that's what you're saying. You're saying you give people energy back.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
And I'd like to believe we're adding years to their life, for sure.
Amazing.
For sure. And all of our food, as you know, we're looking at getting farms. Regenerative farming is a big part of our protocol. So if we can't grow it ourselves, we look to people like yourselves or local farmers that are doing it. But we also vet them. It's not just, hey, you're a farmer. It's we go to meet the farmer and we talk like, hey, what is your practices? Like, what are you doing here? And if it doesn't meet Orqa standards, it doesn't go in our meal plans.
I love that, the standard. By the way, that's a great point, because a lot of people just associate farm with, it's healthy and organic and high standard, but not always the case.
No, and if people, our system is very good at duping people, like you're putting the veil over their eyes kind of thing. So if you look at some farmers or farmers markets, you'll see a big truck pulling up and that didn't come from a farm. Like it came from a warehouse somewhere that wasn't pulled out of the ground.
I love how you're talking about this, because you appreciate farmers markets where it is real farms and Absolutely. They do have a high standard. But a lot of these green markets here in Florida, which I'd like to think we're changing the standard. You and me and a lot of us growers and people doing the work. But anyways, a lot of the green markets have just literally like Costco produce bags. It's crazy.
It is crazy, and I think people fall in love with the romance because it's romantic to go through and pick stuff, and you're talking to the farmers, but behind the scenes, just like our food system, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, if I could say that, if that's the right thing to say.
It's marketing, right?
Yeah, people think it's right from the farm, and it's definitely not. It came from a truck down the road, and that's a conversation we can have
from a farm far away, a farm far away. Yeah,
and that's part of what real food to me is. I mean, you can segment that into 3 different sections, and we were talking, and you said, "What is real food?" And I thought about that. I thought, like, what is real food? Like, let's get back to eating real food. And I was like, what is real food? Real food to you might be a little bit different than real food to me. And real food to Orca is different than real food to the next door neighbor. And so, I thought about, okay, let's take this apart. What is real food? And as a diet, by definition, is, a way of life. So to me, that's a lifestyle. Your lifestyle is different than mine.
And way of life.
Yeah, I think it's the Greek terminology of diet and we're the only species that goes on a diet. Every other species has a diet.
Yeah, right.
And so when you think of that,
interesting.
Why do they have a diet? They eat what's in their area,
That's it.
You don't see a monkey looking at a giraffe saying, I want that guy. I want what that guy's eating. He doesn't know that. It's intuitively, he knows what to eat for his longevity, his heritage, his kids, and it's been ingrained, and he doesn't mess with that.
Intuitively.
Yeah, well,
right.
They just know what to do, right? And they're not foraging long distances to get avocados from Mexico. Right. But what I'm getting at is to eat locally, very small sourced, and so what we do is that we branch that out. So we're eating seasonal. That's real food to me is very seasonal food. There's no point in eating something that's not in season. I think the energetic bond between what's growing in your garden and what you're eating, it gives you the right energy. Do you know what I mean? It's not grown on. It's not ripened on a truck on the way here. It's not handled by 15 different people and then sprayed with pesticides and herbicides and then sprayed with stuff that makes it last longer. And it's only the pretty stuff, so the ugly stuff goes in the landfill. There's so much wrong with that. And here in Florida, you got fruit growing everywhere. It's crazy that anyone in Florida is not eating Floridian food. Yeah.
But I love what you're talking about, this real food, this concept. Yeah. So you're saying like the bio, like you want to focus on what grows in your bioregion that season.
Yeah.
That's part of, you said the biology of foods. That's so interesting. Mm-hmm. So
the biology of cooking is what we called it.
Yeah.
Our food it's
interconnected.
It's not biology anymore. It's more chemistry now, I think. There's a lot of scientists making food.
Whoa.
Which is crazy.
Oh, with like Kellogg's and all these things, like cereal.
There's a lab somewhere with white coats that are making things that are addictive. So that you're eating it, right? You're consuming it. And what does that do? It gets you into the pharmaceuticals. And that's just a vicious loop we can have a conversation about later.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But you were saying it's all about solutions, y'all. That's what we're getting at. Today, because we could talk about those all day.
Yeah, it's really just the what's local.
That is crazy. It's more chemistry now
than biology.
That's kind of a trip. Yeah, that's a trip. What?
So we're trying to bring the biology back, and there's 5 steps to that, and I'll just run through them quick if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So it's about where we source the food. So in your backyard, grow it yourself, so you know where it's coming from. The microbiome of the soil. In our microbiome, they're connected. It's very diverse, and you need diversity in your diet. You can't just eat monochromatic, and you can't grow monochromatic. It doesn't work. So you have to, and you know that better than anyone. So you put so much love and joy into the food, and then it grows. And that, we can talk about the negative energy it has and all of that stuff, negative ions. But long story short is it has so much energy in that food, and so we only we vet where it's coming from. It doesn't have pesticides and it doesn't have all this bad stuff in it.
Sourcing.
So sourcing is very important. And the second step is cleaning and preserving. So we clean with structured water. We use pH. So we don't use chemicals to clean it. We change the pH of the water through a friend of ours and scientist who just changes the pH, so it's disinfectant. So we disinfect the vegetables, and then we store them.
With a high pH? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's called this bubbler, and so we have a whole bunch of them, and we stick the ozone. It's ozone, so it uses ozone in the water. So we use filtered water, and then we ozonate it, so it gets to a pH where it's killing any bacteria that might be on it. We wash it first, and then we do that. And that's, you can say, well, if you know the source, then why are you doing that, right? We just do it as a precaution.
Love it. I mean, restaurants don't do this stuff.
They do not do that.
99% of them.
Most of my life was spent in restaurants, and I guarantee there's not one restaurant out there doing anything close to what we're doing for washing vegetables or even sourcing the vegetables.
I love this.
It's all about convenience. In our food system, it's all about convenience.
Which is cool because you're kind of, real quick, you're bridging that gap because you're making a convenient service which is kind of what I'm trying to do too. Meet people where they're at, but bring them that goodness, that quality, that
I love
standard.
what you said is meet them where they're at. There's one thing that we believe, you believe, but it's what did they see? What's their world like? Let's meet them where they are and let's find the solution, because that solution is going to start the ball rolling, and then they're just going to take on a whole lifestyle, which the end result is what we want. So we can't get them to the end result instantly. We got to meet them where they are. So I love when you say that. That's exactly what I say all the time. Is got to meet them where they are.
Yes.
You know, and just show them a little bit, and then they'll do it.
That's it. Show them.
Yeah.
So go on. You're crushing it. Sourcing, cleaning.
So then there's cleaning. So we clean our vegetables, and then we let them dry. Obviously, we don't want to put wet vegetables into the fridge. They'll freeze. They'll create humidity in the fridge. And we use energy cards, and these energy cards have different frequencies in them. Again, it's all about energy. So that works with the molecules of the vegetable. So today you brought me collards, which are beautiful. So we wash them, we preserve them, all that kind of stuff. We let them dry. So they're drying right now in the drying rack. So when I get back, I'm going to put them into the fridge and put them to bed. But there's energy cards in there. So the water that it's absorbed will now become Earth's charge. So this charge of the energy cards creates the water molecules to be Earth's energy, so a negative energy. And that negative energy goes to when we eat it, because positive energy is toxins, let's just put it that way. So if you think of positive energy as toxins, and then negative energy is earth grounding. Okay. And we're all energy. So once you source it and it goes into the fridge and we keep it in there and it's, lovely and it's great, you just put all this work into it and you've done what you have to do. The next part is where a lot of people drop the ball, and that's cooking. So the biochemistry of cooking, which is what we all do as cooks, we cook. But a lot of cooks don't cook with gratitude and intention and all of that love. And that love energy gets stored in that food. And you can believe that or not, but it's stored in that food.
It's facts.
Yeah, it is facts. It is facts.
Brother.
So,
by the way, this is the same with the garden. What you're talking about, the same thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure it is.
I get goosebumps, dude. It's so good.
Yeah, I love talking about it, especially with people that get it. They're like, wow, yeah, I get that. And people that don't, they're like, oh, I can see that actually.
Yeah, interesting.
So the gratitude and energy of what we do as cooks. And a funny story is there's an opening checklist in my kitchen and a closing checklist. And the opening checklist, the first person in the kitchen has his duties, and the last thing it says is set the intention for the day. So he sets the intention for that day, and the last person gives thanks to the kitchen for what it provided. And that is just a little snippet of what we do. We ask people to do every day. Wake up, set your intention. What are your intentions for today? And then at the end of the night, give gratitude for what happened. Good and bad. Let's look at it. Let's learn from it. So that whole philosophy goes into our food. And we don't destroy the food. We spend so long
in the cooking process.
In the cooking. So yeah, the third step is the cooking process. And
you don't destroy the food.
Yeah. The best way to eat it is raw. That's the most nutrient dense, right?
Okay.
So anytime you apply heat to it, you start taking away the nutrients, right? So if you overcook like my mother used to, she overcooked it. It was nutrient deficient. There was nothing left in the food.
Yes.
So we cook it to a point that it's cooked that you could digest it. Not everyone can digest raw foods, right? So we cook it to a point that it still maintains most of the nutrients. And our cooking processes are intended to do that, to keep the nutrients in. Anytime we can use structured water, we use structured water. So that, again, with the negative ions, keeps that into the food.
The same water you cleaned it with, you're saying?
Well, this water is structured water.
Structured water, what's that?
Yeah, structured water is, if you picture water running down a mountain and it's moving over rocks and stuff like that, it's more viscous, but the structured water is not tainted. If you had to determine what natural structured water is, it's what you get from a fresh spring. It's got all that beautiful stuff.
It runs through the brook, runs through to the water table.
And it's getting all the minerals and stuff from the rocks it's going over and all that stuff.
And it's not coming from the city pump.
Right.
So
that's what it is. So how do you capture that and put it into everyday water? So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can create a vortex. So it creates the structure. But we use a filter that goes through the filter, takes out the chlorine and all the bad stuff. But then in the bottom of the filter is a bunch of gemstones and rocks. So it runs over that and it kind of falls like rain. And so that gives it a structure. So that's structured water.
Amazing.
Yeah. And that structured water carries the nutrients to the food. The structured water works with our cells, in our cells. And the cells recognize structured water more than regular water. So it's actually welcoming. So when you eat, the nutrients that you did put in your body. So if you have nutrient-dense foods, it's going in your body. The structured water that's in that food allows the cells to go, hey, this is great stuff. I'm going to take it in. So they take in more. So the food that's being carried is into your body a whole lot better than just regular water. And considering you're mostly water, why not put structured water in you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great. So what are also some ways you don't destroy the nutrients? I'm curious. You said structured water is awesome.
Yeah. So we don't use heavy metals. We don't use tin foil. That's a bad one. Bleached parchment paper. We don't cook with that. We don't cook with Teflon. That's a no-no. So the cookware comes into play. That's very big.
Ceramic stuff and
ceramic
cool.
and cast iron. Those kind of things we definitely use.
Okay.
Very important. So we don't want to. The best way to be toxic free is not put toxins in you. So that's one of them. And then in cooking, we try to put as much into the food that you may not know is there. So we make a gluten-free sourdough that we're very proud of. But I put bentonite clay and charcoal in there. So to you, it just tastes good and it's really good. But bentonite clay and charcoal are natural binders. So they bind to the toxins or free radicals in your body.
That's right.
So when you sweat, this bread that you're eating, just eating toast, is actually grabbing bad stuff. And when you excrete it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You put a little charcoal in that.
Yeah, just activated charcoal, and bentonite clay, and you can use, cilantro. There's a bunch of other ones.
Cool.
Yeah,
that stuff really, it's really magic, some of this stuff. It's
Yeah.
insane. Like you mentioned, it's like, it is like alchemy.
But it is alchemy, but it's things that have been done for years. Like when you think of slippery elm, everyone's got, nowadays, I'm sure you hear leaky gut. I mean, it's a common term, bloating, all these things. These are all things that came from glyphosate and all that. You can probably talk to that more. The gardening practices we have is causing
how we farm these crops. Right?
Yeah, glyphosate's in everything, and that's just destroying us.
So that's a lot of that's creating leaky gut. It is so common in our culture.
Yeah, I mean, think about Alzheimer's. Like, think of in 1976 to now, everything's gone up, right? I mean, chronic disease as a whole is
so true.
Through the roof.
Everything.
And I think you're going to put it towards food. I put it towards food being corrupt and all the paradigms and all these things that people have been told are healthy. I mean, you just got to walk down the supermarket shelves and take a look at anything on the back there. And
that's right.
There's half the stuff I don't even know what's in it. So, so
it's not even food, dude.
It's not
stores.
No, it's chemistry.
I brought you some real. Yeah, it is, dude.
Yeah.
What a trip.
Yeah.
They say you want to get all the stuff on the outside. On the outside.
Yeah. And then, I mean, then you got to look at, I think people just have to understand, and what we try to do at Orqa Health is just question what goes in your body. You know what I mean? I think people just need to question a little bit more, like, is this serving my body? And we call it a food relationship. So there's functional foods, intentional foods, and it's all a food relationship. You and I can have a relationship. Yeah, and I call it that because you and I can have one.
Yeah.
And we could say, you know what, Jack, this isn't working. And I can go my separate way.
Yeah.
And I'll still be fine. Yeah. But we only have one of us. And so people don't take care of that relationship. And their food relationship should be very tight. You should respect your body. You should give it what it needs. You should listen to it. There's a lot of things that you can apply to a relationship, but people don't do it for themselves. And the thing is, me and my body can't split up. And I mean, if we split up, it's chronic disease. It's a bad ending. You know?
Yeah.
So why don't people spend more time just thinking about it? Like you talk about the outside. Yes, absolutely. Walk around the outside. Don't go down the convenience aisles. And I think once you're...
This is so good, man.
And when we're not...
That it's like that it's just real quick.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying, man, because we put energy into these products, right? And I think about, like, there's quality, like all these beverages we're drinking, like just what is, like, it's like sorcery almost in some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it's
like what? Yeah. It's interesting what you're saying. We have a relationship with all these things.
Yeah. And one of the, it's funny that you say that, because one of the problems I guess I have nowadays with changing people's mind, let's say a burger. Okay, so everyone knows what a burger is. It's a soft, fluffy bun, and it's this
By the way, I love burgers.
So do I.
I do. Yeah,
so do I. I'm guilty of going and eating a really good burger, but I'm at a point now that I'm pretty balanced metabolically. My body knows when and it gets very good at excreting. It depends where you are in your journey. But I'm at a point that I can have a burger. As long as I don't have 3 burgers a day, I'm going to be fine.
Yes.
So I do enjoy a good burger. So you have this idea of what a burger is, or pizza, or anything, or pasta, right? So you have this idea because you've been grown up with it.
Yes.
And then you come to Orqa Health and I'm like, here, have this burger, and you're eating it and going, oh, hold on, man, the bread's a little bit more chewy, and the meat is a little bit this way, and this is what a burger should be. So all of a sudden you have this preconceived idea of what a burger should be, and then I give you what real food is, and you're like, I don't want that. So to tell people is one thing, but then it's like, okay, you're going to eat this, and they're like, no, I don't want to. I want this. Of course, we want the light, fluffy buns, and it's half yoga mat. Like, it's not even bread. it's awful.
Those brioche buns, those fluffy,
And once in a while, that's good. I'm not a restrictive. I understand that you want a treat, and you should have a treat. But for the most, 80% of this should be about you and your relationship, and say like, I'm good. Like, I'm regular. I have lots of fiber. I'm eating good local food. I don't have any sugar. Like, all these things are great, and I feel amazing. I can have a burger, and so.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's balance, right?
Yeah,
it comes down to balance.
That's it, man. Like, I'm not, it's like I'm not waking up having French toast and donuts every day. It's like I have a couple eggs and guac and tomato. I'm good.
Yeah.
For a while, that's all I had this morning.
And a lot of people, they have carbs in the morning. Right, because that's what America says to have carbs. Like,
I used to every day growing up, dude.
Yeah,
you're
sure.
right. I can't do it though. I go to Dunkin' Donuts or something for coffee. When you're a kid, you're just like, donuts, please.
Yeah.
I can't do it now.
And what does that do? It tells your body that you want carbs. So you're craving carbs all day. Yes. And when you don't have them, you crash. And what do? You get carbs. You go like this. So your body's like, give me more carbs. I got to get going. You got to break that cycle, and that takes a little bit of time. But once you break it, your body's like, oh, I got fat stores. I'll just use that. Like, you don't feel this dip like, oh, I need it. Your body's like, oh, I can use the fat I got. I can use the sugar in my blood. It regulates, and that's what Orqa Health does, is it regulates that metabolic flexibility. And once you're like that and you throw in some intuitive, fasting every now and again, and you just chew your food, you give gratitude. Like, it's simple things.
It's biohacking, right? Is that what?
You know what? In a sense, yes, there is biohacking. I mean, intermittent fasting is probably the simplest, easiest, low-tech biohack there is. And is it biohacking? I don't know. I'd say yes.
Yeah,
it's telling your body, like, you know what, you don't need to eat. Like, we're told to eat breakfast. But if you don't feel like eating breakfast, what are you eating breakfast for? You're going to survive. You have glucose. You got energy.
Exactly.
It's all good. You don't have to jam food down your throat. But we've been told to eat 3 meals,
Totally. My friend Seth was telling me about this. He's like, we got to stop. He said exactly what you're saying. We pressure people to eat meals. You're not eating enough. You're not. What if, like, hey, we're good. I do have all this fat stored, healthy fats. I'll be all right this morning.
Yeah, and it's I think all that does is mess with your, leptin and ghrelin levels. Like, your body's kind of like, I think you become leptin intolerant in a way that your body doesn't even regulate. Like, I'm hungry, feed me. I'm hungry, feed me. So these hormones go back and forth, and they talk to each other. But if your brain doesn't register, you're just eating. And sugar does that. Sugar shuts that off, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to eat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because our body's not, like, it hasn't adapted for us to handle all the sugar. Is that the reason why the body's like...
Yeah, I think because I just say sugar is just a drug. I mean, it's a drug. It's not supposed to be there. It's kind of like, I guess cocaine. It shuts off and turns on one switch and shuts off another one, right?
Dude, it always, honestly, every other episode, because I'm sure the audience realizes, comes back to this. Like, I'm reviewing each episode. I was just listening. That sugar, yeah, it's a drug. It's a drug. It's a drug.
It's a poison.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you don't put in your meals?
No, we try to use natural sugar. So we'll use dates. We'll use things on...
Dates are great.
Yeah, we do. But as a whole, in our meals, there's nothing really sweet. So if you were to eat our meals, like, there's, a lot of chewing. There's a lot of... We work on the Ayurvedic system of, like, 5 senses. So you work with that and you balance it. My whole mission is to make sure every bite is not the same as the last one. So there'll be different crunches or different textures or different... That's really what I want. So that food's not boring, It might be hard to chew and you're like, wow, I'm chewing. I'm not used to this. But once you're used to it, and you'll notice that that's the first part of digesting. Like, your saliva needs to do that, and that helps with nitric oxide. And all of these things happen.
That's right.
So then your gut actually digests properly. So once you're okay with the chewing part of things, then you're like, wow, that was good. Oh, I tasted some, bitterness there. And then the next one's like, I tasted some sweet, but I know there's not sugar. And so what was that? Oh, that was actually just a carrot. Your body starts to go, oh, carrots are sweet?
Yeah.
And then and manipulating it during the cooking process, you can bring out natural sugars naturally by adding heat to them. take tomatoes and dry them out, dehydrate her. What happens?
Yes.
Sugars come out and they're like candy.
Delicious.
Right.
Yeah.
So why not do that? I mean, that's sweet. That's a candy. That's a nice candy.
And by the way, sourced super well,
Mm-hmm.
like grown in nutrient dense soil, like the best food you could have in a lot of
Sure.
cases. So
Yeah.
So we got limited time. We could do this all day.
Yeah, I would love to.
But yeah, right. This is great.
Yep.
And I'd love to have you back eventually, man.
I would love to come on and talk with you about
good.
what you do. I mean, I love what you do, and we worked in tandem to make food as medicine a reality. Really.
Let's do it, brother. Yeah. Tell us. Yeah, we do have a few more minutes. Tell us more about like your meal plan, because I want to also get you hopefully some customers, man. Like, what are some meals you got?
Even if they're not eating my food, I would just love that they called me and we just talk.
I love that.
I'll show you how to. And it started out with me actually coaching people how to, in their own home, use functional foods and intentional eating. And that really is just eating to your way of life. Some people get up at 2 a.m, some people get up at 2 p.m. We have to fit food in there somewhere, right? So we have to eat a little bit differently. So this whole circadian rhythm might get out of whack, but there's ways to dial it in. And so I love coaching people along that path as well. Really putting in the lifestyle aspect. It comes down to food. Like, you can't just say, eat this way. That doesn't work. It doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for me. I need to eat this way. I like lemon water and salt for my minerals in the morning. That may not be your thing because you get up at 10 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun's been up for X amount of time, so circadian rhythm's out the window. So how do you do all these things? But I'm going to get off track.
No, this is good. Yeah. No, but by the way,
outside of
reach
ordering,
out. I'm always down. I'm the same way, brother.
Yeah.
Like, I love how you said that. I just want to mention that. That's really cool.
It
shows
honestly,
where your heart is.
Yeah. Our passion isn't monetary. Our passion is 100%. The monetary would just give us a bigger platform to help more people and feed more people. And if they don't want to cook themselves, I would love to vet everything, and I'll do the hard work, and I'll put it into a little box for you, and I'll bring it to your home. We deliver twice a week, right to your door.
Amazing.
Yeah, we don't believe in delivering 5 days worth of meals because the energy is lost in this energetic pathway that I was talking about through the biology of cooking. So we cook for 2 days. And then we come back on Wednesday and we give you another 2 days.
Cool.
So that it keeps it fresh.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you give people like kind of 4 days, a week's worth?
Yeah, it's about 4 days. And if you were to talk to Jacqueline, the way it works is we feed you on Monday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we get you Friday at lunch. And then we let you go out, do what you want to do on Friday. I mean, everyone wants to do their own thing. It's the weekend. Saturday, we ask it, you don't go, rogue. But if you do, you do. We can rope it back in. Again, it's that 80-20. If you want to go that way, whatever your mission is, I mean, if that's what you want to do,
totally.
We can rein it back in. And then on Sunday, we ask you to eat breakfast and lunch, if that's what you want to do, or fast. But then we ask for a 24-hour fast. So at lunch, 24 hours, and then we'll feed you Monday lunch is what we do.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
so we
like
that.
To fast every week after.
Not every week, but we try to get people to do that. Not everyone does it. I mean, it's very hard.
Yeah.
But it's really not hard. I mean, you sleep for 12 hours, 10 hours, that's a fast. You just go a little bit longer, go to lunchtime or something like that. But if you eat dinner and you wait till dinner, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. And it does so much for senescent cells. I mean, we can get into the science of it, but it does so much for you.
I love that word, senescence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The zombies.
Yeah.
The zombie cells. But it does so much of cleaning it out. And then if there's the preventative medicine, you're not going to get sick. And we're all about preventing. We don't want to be in a knee-jerk reaction to, I got X, Y, and Z. We're not a healing. We're preventing. Yeah.
Before the blood sugar's high and that blood test, before all that, I love this, man. Yeah.
And, a lot of people want to go and I did it, you get your biomarkers done, your blood done.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to do, to say, hey, where am I? And then jump on to eating better and changing your life and maybe working out, sleeping different, all of those things, and then get checked again, see if what you're doing is working. I mean, checking in, there's a good reason to check in and get your biomarkers tested.
Totally.
And I didn't know. I mean, I was borderline diabetic. I don't even eat sugar. So I didn't know that stress affected my blood sugar.
Interesting.
So it's a conversation that you should, have. If you don't know, you don't know.
Get the data, yeah.
Absolutely.
Man, everyone who always talks about fasting, like you push like fasting, which is really cool. I'm all about it, intermittent fasting. But the people who do it they talk about it as if it's so easy. you know, and the people who don't do it, which is just a thing for life. I'm just kind of putting it together right now. Like when something's easy, it's like you just get it done. When it's easy in your brain, like you're like, yeah, I mean, it's just a day. But people are like, oh my God, a whole day, I can't.
Yeah.
You're doomed. You're eating,
You're
you're eating my lunch.
But again, it's because you're used to eating three meals a day, and you're used to snacking, and you're used to like late night binging.
Yes.
That's what you're used to.
Like in your body's like, you're right. It's not freaking out at 11 a.m. Hey, where's the bagel or whatever.
Right.
That's so
But there was a
true.
time when I was 30 pounds heavier, and when I started my journey, if you would have told me back then to fast, I'd be like, you're crazy. I'm not fasting. I would have been that person. But now I'm like, yeah, sure, we can go a couple days without eating. Let's do that. Let's just drink water.
Transformation, guys.
Absolutely. And I did that again. I did that intuitively.
Yeah.
That's what the body can do. And that's when I was like, whoa, there's something to this.
Intuitively.
I didn't mean to get into this path of health and wellness and using food as medicine.
Interesting.
But the pandemic hit, and that's how it all started.
Dude,
so I started
that's right.
farming.
Talk to me about that. That's insane.
Sure, yeah.
You weren't specifically, because that always blows me away. Like,
No.
It found you in a way.
100% it found me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really cool journey. I mean, it's a fun story. I mean, do you got time?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it was, I had a very large catering company, and I was very much, I guess I was transitioning. I worked out. I was healthy from that standpoint. I mean, I was healthy. So it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of, we'd come work till 3 a.m. We'd wake up at 6 a.m, 3 hours sleep. And I smoked. I just quit smoking, but I drank heavily.
Yeah.
Had no time. My lifestyle was awful. And my nutrition was terrible. I'd eat a French fry every now and again, or maybe a cookie if I baked one. And definitely an egotistical chef. It was that. The pandemic hit.
With your old catering company.
Yeah. Because it was on the go. It's like food. Yeah, I'm the best. Money. Like just, it was very driven, like a corporate.
Yes.
That's what it was all about.
Executive mode. Totally.
And then pandemic said.
Keep going. Yeah.
Pandemic said, let's just stop that for a minute. And so my catering company shut down. And we had a smoothie bar and a gym, and that shut down. Wow. So we're like, what do we do now? And we were actually in Miami at the time. We're from Canada originally. But we were in Miami at the time, and we had a farm in Canada. And we're like, whoa, this is a scary world. I mean, everyone went through it, right? It was kind of scary. And a friend of ours said, people can't get to the store right now, right? I said, yeah. And they're like, why don't you help people cook with what's in their fridge? I said, what are you talking about? She said, we'll jump on a Zoom call with people or Instagram, and we'll ask people to open up their fridge. You will tell them what to make with what's in their fridge. And I said, well, that's a fun game. I took it as a challenge at the time, right? So people would open it, and there'd be carrots and potatoes and parsley and something else going bad and some milk. And I was like, okay, you can make a salad with this and then make a sauce with that. And so we'd tell them what to make. And I was like, this is cool. This is a lot of fun. So we did that.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Right.
It was so much fun.
Wow.
Again, people didn't know what to do. And even me telling them, it was fun for me, but they were probably like, are you crazy? That's going to take all day. And so I didn't even think of that part at that time. I was like, well, that was a whole lot of fun. I gave them 15 recipes. Yeah.
Right there on.
And then I said, there's something to this. And someone said, well, why don't you use food as medicine? I started looking into Hippocrates. I started looking into Ayurveda. And I was like, wow, I'm resonating with this Ayurveda thing. It's kind of how I cook, and it's what I believe in. So then I said, okay, let's get our plant-based nutrition. So I did that, and then I got my IHP, so integrative health practitioner, that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, I love this. But during that whole process of me learning this through the screen and through people and all of that, and then I built a course around it. Again, we didn't have anything to do around the farm, so I ended up with 42 chickens. I ended up with 3 beehives. I ended up with a large garden, and I was just living life. Like, honestly, it was stress-free, and I was like, I'm going to go. You got me eggs here, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go get some eggs, and I started a little business with my daughter selling eggs, and I was like, wow, life is great. But then I looked at a picture. Me and my wife looked at a picture, almost the same situation, because I was filming. I was showing people how to cook on Zoom. And there was almost a picture from a year ago to that current day. And my wife was like, have you seen this picture? Like, look at you. And I had never thought of losing weight. I was like, I'm healthy. I'm fine, right? Never thought of it. And the picture showed how puffy I was a year ago to how much more energy I had and how much younger I looked 1 year later. And I looked at the picture and went, oh my gosh, like what contributed to this? And it was me eating healthier, putting my feet in the grass, not being stressed out, getting some sleep, quitting drinking, eating, like all of these things. I was like, man, I got to tell people how to live this way.
Wow, And this is great. Yeah. Fully integrated.
Absolutely.
And then you saw the difference, like it was a juxtaposition, like 1 year difference, transformation.
And that whole time I learned of, how food and diet changing, kills cancer, or takes away tumors, and all of these amazing stories of parasites disappearing just through food. And I was like, this is mind blowing. Like I was like, this is crazy stuff. Like, how do I get a hold of this stuff? Like, I just thought food was food.
Totally.
And then you learn broccoli in, New York is less dense or nutrient dense than broccoli here. And broccoli across America is completely different. Broccoli's not broccoli. Wow. It's always different. I was like, wow, there's so much going on in our food world. Our society of food is.
And then the sprouts of broccoli are 50 times stronger and certain, like it's a rabbit hole, dude.
Yeah, but your collards, right? Your collards, I know. I mean, if we went into a lab, your collards, one, they look beautiful. They taste different. That was a whole nother thing. Giving someone arugula from your garden and then giving them arugula from Whole Foods, I did that, and people were like, "What am I eating?" I was like, "That's what arugula is supposed to taste like," and you have no idea.
People
but
come
you don't
back
know what
every
you don't
year
know.
for the arugula.
But you don't know what you don't know. You're like, "Oh, that's what it's supposed to taste like."
That's right.
That's right. It has flavor on its own. Came from the ground. It wasn't grown in some hydroponic hoop house or whatever that has no nutrition or flavor. And that's mind blowing. And when I found out that broccoli across America, in every state, had different nutrient value, I was blown by it. I was like, broccoli has the same. It's broccoli.
So you go to the store, you get a broccoli in different states. It's
right. So let's say your cauliflower is this much nutrients. I don't know how to gauge that, but if it's like high in nutrients, and then we got collards from Whole Foods here, and then collards from Whole Foods in New York City, and then California. Every one of those collards is going to have a different nutrient density.
Yes.
Which to me is crazy, because when you're like, eat broccoli, but from where? Which one has the best nutrient density? Is it New York? Because I got to go to New York to get the broccoli there because it's better. And so that's what it took me back to this point. I was like, okay, I just got to grow it. So I know that the broccoli I get is nutrient dense, because I know the farmer and I know that it's great.
Dude, it's so good. And that's, by the way, that's how we originally got connected. Carissa put us together like, hey, you guys, we should start growing. You're trying to grow your own, I know it's like you got steps before you're like fully integrated, all those things, but it's amazing. You're really on this of source it local, in season.
But finding you through Carissa. Yeah, I saw this beautiful garden. I was like, wow, you're doing, and she's like, oh, it's urban abundance. And I was like, okay, I got to meet this guy. And so you came by the kitchen, and it was this instant connection of like-mindedness. It was this instant connection of passion. Yeah. Like, how do we make this happen? Forget, the outside world and everything. How do we make this happen on a larger scale? And that does take resources and all that stuff. But yeah, we met up. And, And what you're growing is
But you're
amazing.
Exactly right, man. Yeah, thank you.
And so I'm gonna try to do it. And it might be farms across America. I don't know, but we'll get there for sure.
Totally, brother.
And with the help of our community, like yourself and other like-minded people, we'll make it happen.
Man. Well, you're already growing some. You get produce from me in Carissa's garden.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
And we're looking at a place up in Okeechobee. We're looking at a place up in Michigan. Like, we're not just growing it here. If we can grow it in Michigan, from, like the Amish, why not? They know what they're doing.
Cool. Yeah. Diversify, right?
Yeah, and what's in season up there is not what's in season here. So it's still what's growing at that time.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. It speaks to what we believe in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dude, so good. I know a bunch of people got a lot of good stuff from that today, man.
I hope so, yeah. I'd love to come back and
healing through foods, brother. Yeah.
Yes.
Intentional cooking. It is really good. And I love to hear your story, man.
Oh, thank you.
It was cool to like learning into Ayurveda and all this stuff and then you were like, wait, I just transformed through.
Yeah, and I'm still transforming. I think we all should. There's so many iterations of the human body, and it's just, I guess once you're like, wow, I didn't know I could feel this good. At 48, I feel way better than I did when I was 38. Like light years.
Incredible.
Yeah. And I don't know what my actual age is on the inside, my biological age. I don't know what that is, but I'd like to believe it's younger than 48.
Dude, it feels that way. You said 48. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Vitality.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Orqa Health, guys. Support them. Reach out. Collin, you're awesome. Is there anything else you want to share before we...
No, brother. Just thanks again for having me on, and keep doing what you're doing, and we'll make America great again.
Let's do it, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Keep doing, you the same, brother. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks.
I love to see it.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
We're in the garden. It's existential.